What's going on, everybody? I am going to show you guys how to do the Blitzkrieg Style start position copies. Alright, so you'll see this on pretty much any of these levels over here. We can go to the start position button right here, load into it. They're by Nayloren. For something like this, as you can see, there's a bit of an auto transition into each start position. It just gives you a bit more time to adjust, and that's kind of exactly what we're looking for here. So let's start with a level that does not have a Blitzkrieg start position copy, Subsonic. So open this up, you can make a copy of this and hop into the editor. So we obviously don't need a start position at the beginning. Well, let's say I want to make a start position coming into this robot right here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a place that gives me a bit of time to get into it. Sure that I flip gravity, and here we go. Yeah, so that gets us in there, but we have to press these orbs, which could be a bit of an awkward transition. So first things first, I want to take the start position. I'm going to put in a new layer. The first open layer is 24. You can just find that by clicking this right blue arrow when you're looking through your layers. So that's perfect. So now that we're here, we are going to make our actual auto part. So this is pretty easy. We're going to increase this object size. Just give it a pad right here, and then we can do another little pad right here, and I bet you this will do the job. Sure does. Perfect. So that's all we really need for this auto part. It's not a very complicated part. So our next step is going to be creating a toggle trigger. Now, this is sort of the key to everything. If you'll notice, we're going to set this to a touch trigger. We're going to size it up a little bit too, just to make sure that we can hit it. This toggle trigger will be hit if we're going from the very start of the level, but as you'll notice, it is not in the path of the first start position. What this means is we have this auto part coming up, but if we're playing from either the start, or if we were to make later start positions a previous start position, this toggle trigger would disable the parts that make this auto, allowing us to do full runs and not just have these auto parts left in the level. So that's really cool. So let's have a group that we should set this on. Personally, I just kind of like to go big or go home, you know. Let's go up to 1001, and so that way we can kind of increment from here. 1001, 1002. It keeps us out of the way of the rest of the groups that a level might have. It probably doesn't go up that high most of the time. Make sure you check in here that, you know, you go to the next free, and that is lower than 1000. So once we have that, we can go ahead and set our auto sections. We can add group 1001. Cool. So we have that. And I think just for the sake of, you know, looks and everything, we're going to hide these. No particle, no effects, just so that we get a clean looking auto section. Now the final step that I think is really super important for making this professional and clean is our options trigger right here. And we're also going to make this a touch trigger. Just a little bit bigger as well. There we go. And we're actually going to have two of these. So this will also have the 1001 group. For the first one, right above the start position, we're going to disable player 1 and player 2 controls. For the second one, I'm going to pop right over here and put it where we want to give those controls back. And we will set those two off. Now we've got a nice little section right here, and we can just test everything to make sure. A big thing that I think is pretty important in these sorts of levels is you're going to want to disable all of these start positions. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's pretty important. To use these start copies anyways, you have to be using either Mega Hacks or Eclipse's start position switcher. So that kind of is a prerequisite for all of this, and disabled start positions are viewable by that. So basically what this does is just allows you to start at the start of the level instead of at the last start position, which I just think is convenient. All right. So let's go ahead and play this. We're going to jump up to start position 1. And as you can see here, we're just falling straight through. Now let's start at start position 2. Yeah, that gets us straight into our robot part, right? It's nice, cool. So that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more to this one. The main thing is just how you're going to construct your auto parts. Pads are going to do the majority of your work. One thing I think is really cool that is not often utilized are these force blocks, which, these can force up a game mode. I think especially with ship, it's really helpful. It can make gameplay look, or auto gameplay look, really natural, like the ship's really being controlled, which can just kind of keep the immersion when you're trying to flow through a level. So you can just open this up, force, and once the player comes in contact with it, it will force in the face direction by however much you set this force value to. So pretty convenient, and that's sort of just the gist of all of this. It's super simple. You can duplicate this for any level, and it's a lot of fun. So give it a try, definitely, if you're trying to work through a level. Make a good start position copy, and Blitzkrieg just doesn't happen to have one. I am not associated with the Blitzkrieg team. Shout out Nayloren. This is like just completely reverse engineered from what they did. It's obviously a very simple technique, but it's super cool. It's super awesome, and it helps things function a little bit smoother, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the tutorial.